Hi everyone, I'm back again with another compatibility chart, this time between Lori Vallow and Chad Daybell. There's a lot of interesting and eerie, chilling details in this compatibility chart between the two of them. One of the most fascinating ones I've done, even though it's very somber and unfortunate. Now, his Dejanira and Ixion and Juno conjuncts her ascendant by 1 degree, and the ascendant is a very important angle in a compatibility chart. So these energies have to do with, Dejanira has to do with victimhood, Ixion has to do with murder, and Juno has to do with marriage. So those are the energies that he brought to her. Victimhood in the relationship through murder, and it happened while they were married. Now, her Law and Melpomene conjuncts his south node. Law has to do with, it's self-explanatory, it has to do with the law. And Melpomene has to do with tragedy. So eventually, she brought these energies to him. There was a huge tragedy, and there was law involved in this. Now, his Mars, as Bolus, and Rest in Peace asteroid conjuncts her midheaven. Whatever conjuncts your midheaven from the other person, you'll receive those energies, but it will be out in the open. The public, the general public will see what's going on. And in this case, not only the general public, but the whole world. Now, as Bolus has to do with secrets and mysteries, also it can mean horrifying situations on the extreme side and something that is inhuman. So we have that. Asbolus is actually a centaur, and it's holding hands with Rest in Peace asteroids. So now we have death conjuncting her midheaven, and also Mars. And Mars is a war planet, and it also has to do with violent deaths. So he brought these energies into the relationship, and the whole world is seeing the situation. Now, in her natal chart, I have to mention that her Folsom conjuncts her asteroid Ryan, 1 degree. And Folsom has to do with prison. Ryan, I think that's the middle name of one of the children that was murdered. And so her Folsom conjuncting her Ryan in her natal chart, this indicates to me there she will be going to prison. And it's in Cancer, which is ruled by the moon. And in a natal chart, the moon represents the mother. Now, her Atropus and Tylee conjuncts his ascendant, Chad's. And Atropus is a death marker. And Atropus has to do with, in Greek mythology, Atropus decided the life and when a person was going to die, they held the scissors and they cut the lifeline, and they made the decision of when the person was going to pass. Now, since her Atropus is conjuncting Tylee and holding hands, to me this signifies guilt, and it's conjuncting Chad's ascendant. So these energies came together on both sides. Her point of fortune, it looks like a circle with a cross in the middle, and it magnifies the energies that it touches, or the asteroids or planets, because it's like a mini Jupiter. But her point of fortune is conjuncting his Jupiter and the asteroid Requiem. And Requiem has to do with funeral for the dead. It's a death marker. Now, the interesting part of this is his Jupiter and Requiem is trining her asteroid Hawaii, 1 degree. You can't make this up. It never fails to astound me, I've said this before, how accurate these energies and the interactions and dynamics between two people come into play. So they went to Hawaii, I believe, and it was happening, it happened December 1st, and that's a Sagittarius sign. And Sagittarius is ruled by Jupiter. So again, lots of validation here of what happened with this murder and their children. And there's more, even more shocking details to me. Now, his Sedna, Lachesis, and Fama conjuncts her descendant 1 degree. And it also conjuncts her Agamemnon and Diarest asteroid. So this is really interesting, and I'm going to break it down for you. And since these asteroids are all holding hands and conjuncting her descendant by 1 degree, these energies again come into play, and the descendant is another really important angle in a synastry chart. So you really have to pay attention. What conjuncts your ascendant and descendant, midheaven, IC, as well as your luminaries. So his Sedna has to do with extreme betrayal through death, and he became famous. They became famous because of it. Because Lachesis is a death marker, and the Fama asteroid has to do with fame. Now, these asteroids are also conjuncting her Agamemnon and Diarest. Agamemnon, I've talked about that asteroid before. And in Greek mythology, Agamemnon sacrificed one of his children on the way to the Trojan War because he angered Artemis by killing one of her sacred stags. So he sacrificed one of his children. And also, this asteroid Agamemnon is conjuncting the asteroid Diarest. So now we have an arrest due to this sacrificial demise of her children. Her fixed star, Manubrium, conjuncts his vertex in the 5th house, and the 5th house rules children. Now, Manubrium has to do with cremation, the burning of bodies, and it's in the sign of Capricorn, and Capricorn is ruled by Saturn, and her Saturn is in the 8th house, which rules death. So again, more validation here. Manubrium, it's like a funeral pyre, and like I said, since it's conjuncting his vertex in the 5th house rules children, and the vertex is another really important point in a compatibility chart. So that's what she brought into this relationship as well. Now, her Dejanira and Requiem also conjuncts his vertex 1 degree. Again, victimhood through death, resulting in the death of the children. They were victims. His Diarest asteroid conjuncts her north node, 0 degrees. Whatever conjuncts your north node in your compatibility chart, that will be the ultimate theme of the energies between the two of you. And it can happen rather quickly. I've seen it happen when people move in together. They're not really married yet, but eventually it does play out. Sometimes it takes longer than others. But in this case, his Diarest conjuncts her north node, 0 degrees. That is the tightest orb that you can get. And Diarest has to do with, like I said before, being arrested. So basically, one of the themes in this relationship has to do with the law and being arrested and prison and tragedy, because those energies are written all over this chart multiple times. Now, his Nemesis conjuncts her rest in peace and vertex. Nemesis has to do with that asteroid has the energies of being an enemy, not being forthcoming, and end up being, it just isn't a good energy to have between two people, because this person, if this asteroid is conjuncting something important in your natal chart with the synastry, especially the angles, luminaries and vertex, they will become an enemy of yours. Now, it depends on the degree. 0 degrees is the tightest orb, and 3 degrees is the weakest. So it's conjuncting her rest in peace and her vertex. Again, rest in peace is a death marker. So he became her enemy through the demise and the death of the children. His Atropos conjuncts her sun. And I've talked about Atropos previously in this chart. Again, death marker decides when the person is going to die, and it's conjuncting her sun, a very important luminary. So this relationship wasn't bound to last. And also, there's a lot of, again, death marker energies, and it's conjuncting her sun. So this is pretty much a automatic fail all the way around. And I had someone ask me in the comments if they didn't get together, would this still happen between her and someone else or him and someone else? Well, that's a very good question. I would have to say I wouldn't know that, only because I would have to see the other person's chart. And it depends on who else that she got involved with. And if it's like a puzzle, and if the pieces fit perfectly, then this whole dynamic came into play. Now, would it happen with someone else? It's possible. But to me, this is almost like a fated sort of connection, unfortunately. So I think that but she did have previous marriages before Chad, and there was instances of unscrupulous behavior, but her chart with him just came into I'm not going to say the right complete dynamic, but it wasn't an unfortunate one. So it's really, really too bad. So that's all I have, and I hope you enjoyed this interpretation, and I will see you again next time, and thanks for watching. Have a nice day.